Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Alina Adams, founder and CEO of Artveoli, and we're making air panels, devices that generate fresh air indoors, similar to plants and trees that we have outside. So we all know the global air pollution, but we actually spend most of our lives indoors, over 90% of our lives indoors. And there are a lot of indoor air contaminants that affect our health and performance. One of them is carbon dioxide. That's what we breathe out. So when we're sitting home and indoors, the carbon dioxide levels accumulate and they create adverse health effects. It creates dizziness, we have shortness of breath, people have headaches, and it actually lowers our performance. And HVAC system and ventilation systems are not efficient at removing localized CO2 buildup because whatever we are, we're generating it. So what if we could generate fresh air inside, where we spend most of our lives? Artveoli created an air panel device that will remove CO2 levels and convert it into oxygen. We've developed Air Panel. This is a device that you will hang on the wall, you'll put in your home or office, 1 unit per bedroom or per small conference room. You plug in the outlet and it will produce fresh air. It will generate oxygen and remove carbon dioxide. The core of the technology, similar to plants and trees, photosynthesis. And these systems are scalable. If you have large rooms, you can put multiple systems in different offices and spaces. We have collaboration on this technology with Lawrence Livermore National Lab, and we filed global patents on this technology. And if we want to integrate these panels with demand control ventilation systems, we can do that, providing the whole building solution. The core technology is based on photosynthesis, and we power the photosynthesis with LED panel. And inside, we have what we call biochips. Those are the chips that contain microscopic algae to produce oxygen, remove carbon dioxide. And up front, we have a cover just to make it look good. And we can make customized covers, or it can actually be a TV or touchscreen, or just a plain industrial cover. So how are we different from traditional purifiers and filters that are already not on the market? So ventilation systems, they're not efficient at lowering localized CO2. So in addition, we're not substitute to that. There are filters and purifiers that remove particulate matter. Those are the dust, there's the particles that we need to clean the air. But they actually don't change the composition of air. They don't change gases, and that's what we do. And there are some oxidizers that they break down organic molecules and volatile organic compounds. Byproduct waste of that is actually CO2. So again, we're a complement to those systems, not a substitute. From a business model perspective, we're aiming to sell our units into commercial and residential space. In the commercial space, it will be $2,500 and $200 for replacement cartridge, which is essentially like a filter that you need to replace every 3 to 4 times a year. And residential applications that we want to bring to homes for $600 a unit, and numerous other applications, including customized scalable solutions. Global filtration market is estimated to be $110 billion in 5 years. And because it's a big problem, it is a big opportunity. In US alone, 30% of offices have significant air quality problems. And 14 million people, 14 million households in the United States have people with upper respiratory issues. In addition to those markets, we can expand in schools, hospitals, transportation, and other environments. Our go-to-market strategy is to go through commercial segment first, expanding into residential, and directly as well as through strategic partners. We already have pre-orders, organic pre-orders for our units, and we have strategic partners who want to distribute our product. In addition to that, we have pilots in the United States as well as Europe and Asia. The team has diverse background and in the R&D as well as building products, including hardware. I myself have applied physics background, and I worked as a bioengineer at Stanford. This is my 3rd company, and I'm also part-time adjunct faculty at Northeastern University. We incorporated in 2015. We've been through multiple developments of prototypes and testings, collaborations. We've raised seed rounds for all of that. And right now, we need to take our product into manufacturing. We have partners for that and strategic partners who can help us with that. And we're raising funds for manufacturing. I'm with Artveoli, and our goal is to improve indoor air quality. Thank you.
Thank you, Alina. Now to questions from our judges.
Thank you. That was a great presentation and also a great suit. Is there, in the unit specifically, is there a sensor for like baseline air quality that would trigger on and off?
Exactly. So the systems, just to give you a reference, outside we have 400 parts per million concentration of carbon dioxide. Inside, it's typically 3 to 4 times what we have outside. So our system will work if you just put it outside. But the higher the concentration, the better system will perform because it's a natural biological base. So we have sensors internally that measure how much carbon dioxide currently in the room and how much is that converted and lowered inside the room.
Great, thank you.
I'd love to hear how you think about the brand positioning. So I think on one hand, there's some consumer education that needs to happen, that indoor air quality is not as great as you think. And there's a way that you can attack that from kind of fear tactics. I think there's also a way of living a holistic wellness life, or maybe you're going after moms and you want this in your nursery. And so would love to hear kind of how you're thinking about the brand positioning once you go to market.
Yes, absolutely. And that's a really good question, because 3 years ago when I started this company, when I was pitching to investors, they had no idea. And now they're calling me because they hear about the problem. There's more problem awareness to that, but public is not educated. Luckily, there are a lot of big players understanding this problem, and they're trying to educate the market. For example, United Technology, they're putting a lot of money in the research showing how bad CO2 for working environments and for homes, that it is actually affecting our lives and productivity. So the good thing is that we don't have to do sole education of the market, but from our positioning, and from my personal background, we're always trying to think as moms or heads of households, how we can improve our lives. Can we give organic? Can we have healthy environment? What can we do? And a lot of times we can choose what we eat, how we sleep, how we exercise, but we cannot choose what we breathe. And that's the part of that we're trying to bring in, that you can improve indoor air quality and as part of the bigger wellness and well-being, the sort of trend and solution.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for this. When you think about your buyer on the commercial, the residential side, so less so the kind of the consumer side, how does that buyer think of the ROI of the product? So do they look at it from the perspective of it's the right thing to do? Do they look at it from the perspective of it's going to improve productivity? How do they kind of measure success for themselves, and what drives the purchasing decision?
So from the commercial perspective, since it's initial, and that's a very good question, they're decision makers within the company, and they're also facilities who understand about the air quality, the standards and regulations. So one thing is compliance, if they know there's a problem, if they're trying to do something about it. Another thing is focusing on the general sort of LEED certified buildings who are trying to improve new technologies, for adopting new technologies to improve indoor air quality. And a lot of times the problem that we have right now is the optimization and efficiency and sustainability was focused on energy. So we're going to minimize how much air we're going to take. Let's recirculate it, because we spend energy on cooling and heating, and that way we're going to save the energy. Well, that doesn't work because that affects human health and productivity. So the new trend, and that's the United Technologies are trying to support, is to creating healthy buildings. So you actually making environment healthy in addition to saving energy. So our solution fits in is that you can improve energy by lowering how much air you bring from the outside, but you can also generate air inside. So one of the benefits is you can save energy. But initially also our big emphasis is the human asset and human capital, because when you have people working, and if 1% reduction in productivity upsets all your energy savings that you can do, and that's a huge human capital and human assets. Yeah. Yeah.
Perfect. There's still 1 minute left. Is there any feedback on the pitch from the judges?
I think one, and I think I said this kind of earlier, it's always great to hear the feedback or hear the background of the founder. And so understanding kind of what drove you to do this and kind of why you are particularly advantaged to take on this challenge. Know that we don't have that much time. And then two, I think, just understanding a little bit more of kind of what it takes to get this to market. Like, where are you in manufacturing? Kind of who are your partners? What does that look like? What does a product roadmap look like? And what does a product roadmap look like out, beyond this initial panel? And then I would say third, I'm a consumer investor, so I love brands, but kind of understanding the value prop from kind of the consumer's perspective. How does this fit into their kind of decision making? Is it, they're buying it for their grandmother, they're buying it for their child, or this is a virtual signaling that they care about wellness, and just kind of hearing a little bit more about that would be great.
Okay, thank you.
Perfect. Thank you, Alina.
Thank you. Thanks.